Listen to me. When you've made it to the top of the mountain, don't build a house, build a campfire and keep climbing. Stay hungry. Don't get comfortable because you hit one goal. Don't relax because you made it through the storm. The hunger that got you here is the hunger that will take you even further. Some people get a taste of success and they get full. Not you, not now. You've got to want it like you've never had it. You've got to want it when you're tired. Want it when you're broke. Want it when nobody believes in you. That's what separates the greats from the average. They stay hungry day after day, year after year. So I ask you, how bad do you want it? Are you hungry enough to outlast the pain? Are you hungry enough to fight through the failure? Because if you are, there's nothing, absolutely nothing that can stop you. Stay hungry, stay focused, stay grinding. Your future depends on it. Never settle for average. It sounds simple, maybe even obvious, but in reality, it's one of the hardest things to live by. Average is easy. Average is comfortable. Average doesn't require much from you. It's the default setting for most people, not because they're incapable, but because they've convinced themselves that average is good enough. But let me tell you something. Good enough is the enemy of greatness. If you want to rise, if you want to separate yourself from the rest, you have to make a decision right now that average isn't for you, that you were born to be more, to do more, and to give more. When you accept average, you're making peace with limitations that were never meant to define you. You're agreeing with the voice in your head that says this is all you're capable of. And that voice is lying to you. That voice is fear talking. It's laziness talking. It's past failure talking. And the only way to shut it up is to show up day in and day out with a mindset that refuses to settle. And see, average doesn't always look like failure. Sometimes it looks like a good job, a steady income, and a decent life. And to a lot of people, that's the end goal. But if there's something burning inside of you, if there's a vision, a passion, a dream that wakes you up in the middle of the night, then decent will never be enough. Because deep down, you know you weren't created to blend in. You were created to stand out. You were created to dominate in your field, to be the best at what you do, to leave a legacy that lasts long after you're gone. But that doesn't happen by accident. Greatness is intentional. It's a daily decision to do what others won't. It's waking up earlier, staying up later, going the extra mile when no one's watching, studying when your friends are partying, practicing when others are relaxing, investing in your craft when no one's clapping for you. That's what separates champions from competitors. The difference in always tell it is hunger. It's the refusal to accept average. Look at the greats in any field, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, inventors, and you'll see a common trait. They were never satisfied. Even after success, they stayed hungry. Michael Jordan didn't stop after one championship. Steve Jobs didn't stop after the first iPhone. Beyonce didn't stop after one hit album. Why? Because they understood that settling kills momentum. They knew that the second you think you've arrived, you start declining. They want to be good one time. They want to be great every time. Settling for average is like putting a ceiling over your own potential. It means you're okay with living below your capabilities. And over time, that mindset starts to eat away at your confidence, your ambition, and your identity. You start to believe you're just another face in the crowd, just another player on the field, just another name on a list. Say it, but you're not. You have gifts, talents, and ideas that the world needs, but they'll never see the light of day if you keep choosing average over excellence. Let me make this personal. Every time you choose average, you're not just affecting your life. You're affecting the lives of everyone connected to your purpose. Your family, your community, your future self, they're all dependent on you to rise, to push through, to keep climbing when it would be easier to stop. You may not realize it now, but someone is watching you. Someone is being inspired by your effort. And when you give it your all, you give them permission to do the same. So the next time you're tempted to coast, to cut corners, to take the easy way out, remind yourself of who you are and why you started. Think about your goals, your dreams, your vision. Think about the person you want to become, the person you're capable of becoming. That version of you isn't average. That version of you is excellent, disciplined, focused, and relentless. That version of you wakes up every day with purpose and ends every day with progress. It's not about being perfect. It's not about never failing. It's about never accepting just enough. It's about demanding more from yourself even when no one else does. It's about raising your own standards so high that average isn't even an option anymore. And yes, that journey will be uncomfortable. Yes, you'll be tired, frustrated, and tested. But that's the price of greatness. That's what it takes to unlock the next level of your life. You don't get there by doing what's easy. You get there by staying hungry, by refusing to settle, by deciding every single day that average is unacceptable. Because once you've tasted what it's like to give your best, nothing else will satisfy you. Once you've felt the pride of reaching a goal you fought for, you'll never want to go back to average again. You'll crave the grind. You'll chase the challenge. You'll learn to love the process more than the prize. So don't stop. Don't settle. Don't let the world put a label on you that says average. Rip that label off and replace it with unstoppable. Stay hungry and you'll never have to worry about falling back into mediocrity. Because hunger fuels hustle and hustle leads to greatness. Success is rented, not owned, and the rent is due every single day. That's the mindset you have to adopt if you're serious about achieving greatness. Too many people think that once they've achieved something, a promotion, a diploma, a certain level of income, that the work is over. They think success is a one-time payment, a destination you reach, and once you're there, you can just relax. But that's not how it works. Well, success is not permanent. It's not something you buy and keep on the shelf. It's something you earn repeatedly through effort, discipline, and commitment. Every single day. Think about it. How many stories have we seen of people who hit the top and then fell hard? Athletes who got lazy after a championship, entrepreneurs who stopped innovating after a big product launch, artists who stopped pushing their creativity once they got famous. That happens because they forgot the truth. Success doesn't stay with you just because you had it once. It stays with you because you continue to do the work that brought you there. You can't rely on yesterday's wins to secure today's results. Yesterday's discipline won't carry over into today unless you bring it with you. Yesterday's grind was good, but it only paid for yesterday's rent. Today's rent is due now. And if you're not willing to pay it, if you're not willing to show up with the same energy, the same focus, and the same fire, then success will slip right through your fingers. Success is like fitness. You can work out for 3 months and get in great shape, but if you stop exercising and start eating junk, you'll lose everything you gain. It doesn't matter how good you look last month. If you're not putting in the work today, that progress is fading. It's the same with every area of your life, whether it's your career, your relationships, your finances, or your mindset. The minute you stop watering the plant, it starts to die. The moment you think, I've made it, and stop putting in the effort, that's when you start going backward. This is why consistency matters more than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel inspired. Other days you feel tired, drained, maybe even defeated. But success doesn't care about your feelings. The rent is still due. Whether you're excited or exhausted, whether people are cheering you on or doubting you, the rent is still due. And only those who keep paying, no matter how they feel, get to keep the success they've earned. Now let's talk about discipline, because that's the currency you pay rent with. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't want to do it. It's showing up for yourself and your goals, especially when it's inconvenient. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It's a quiet repetition of good habits. It's choosing growth over comfort. It's sacrificing temporary pleasure for long-term reward. And when you stack those disciplined days together, you create momentum. You build character. And eventually you build a life of excellence. But make no mistake, discipline is hard. That's why most people don't want to pay the rent. They rather enjoy the comfort of average than push through the pain of progress. They'd rather complain about not having success than show up and earn it every day. But if you're different, if you want to live on a higher level, you can't think like that. You have to understand that the work is never over. The hustle is never finished. Even after you succeed, The mission is to maintain, to improve, and to evolve. And here's something else. Success isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become. When you pay the rent every day, you're not just getting external rewards, you're transforming internally. You're building mental toughness. You're developing resilience. You're becoming someone who doesn't flinch in the face of adversity. That kind of character doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from daily deposits of effort, intention, and integrity. So what does that look like in practical terms? It means waking up and tackling your goals before distractions can steal your focus. It means showing up to practice, to work, to study, not because someone is watching, but because excellence is your standard. It means reviewing your progress, identifying your weaknesses, and adjusting your approach with humility. It means finding a way to grow, even when you're tired, even when the results aren't showing yet, even when no one is clapping. Because let's be real, there will be days when you won't feel like it. Days when the alarm feels too early, when the grind feels too heavy, when the dream feels too far away. And on those days, you remind yourself, the rent is still due. You don't stop just because it's hard. You don't pause just because it's lonely. You push because you know what's at stake. You keep going because you come too far to quit now. And when you live like that, when you operate with that mindset, you start to separate yourself from the crowd. Because most people won't do what you're doing. Most people will fold under pressure, but you won't. Because you understand the cost of success. You've accepted the responsibility that comes with your vision. You know that greatness isn't given, it's earned. So let the world sleep in. Let others take breaks. Let others get comfortable, but not you. You're not here to be average. You're here to be excellent. You're here to lead, to inspire, to make an impact. And that kind of life comes with a daily price tag. Success is rented, not owned. It's in the rent. It's due every single day. Pay it with discipline, with consistency, and with heart. Because in the end, it's not just about what you achieve, it's about the person you become in the process. But most people want success. They want the cars, the houses, the respect, the financial freedom. They're dreaming about standing on stages, getting recognized, making an impact. But very few people are willing to do what it takes when no one's watching. They're not willing to grind in the dark. And that's the difference. Greatness isn't built under the spotlight. It's built in the shadows. When the crowd is gone, the lights are off. And it's just you, your goals, and your discipline. That's where champions are made. Not on the stage, but in the silence. You see, it's easy to work hard when people are clapping for you. It's easy to stay motivated when you're getting likes, praise, and validation. But what about when nobody sees your effort? What about when you're doing the work and there's no applause, no feedback, no recognition? That's when your true character is revealed. Because if you're only grinding when others are watching, you're not committed, you're performing. And performance fades when the audience disappears. But commitment, real commitment lasts. Because it's not tied to external approval. It's tied to your internal standards. Grinding in the dark means waking up early when no one is forcing you. It means staying late to refine your craft when no one is checking in. It means saying no to distractions even when it feels like you're missing out. It's about being obsessed with growth, not for the show, but for the substance. You do it because it's who you are, not because you want someone to notice. And when you live like that, you begin to separate yourself from the average. The average person stops when things get uncomfortable. They pull back when it gets quiet. They need the noise, the affirmation, the energy of others to keep going. But if you want to achieve something extraordinary, you need to learn to love the silence. You need to become dangerous when it's quiet. That's where the edge is. That's where you sharpen your mind, discipline your habits, and harden your resilience. When you grind in the dark, you're preparing for the light. Because when your time comes, you won't just show up, you'll dominate. Grinding in the dark also builds something no one can take away from you. Confident. Not the kind of confidence that's loud and fake, but the real grounded kind. The kind that comes from knowing deep down that you've put in the work, that you've suffered for your goals, that you sacrificed, that you've earned every inch of progress. And when you walk into a room with that kind of confidence, people feel it. It's not about arrogance. It's about certainty. You know who you are because of what you've done in private. And let's be honest, there will be times when you feel invisible, when you feel like no one sees your effort, when it feels like the grind isn't paying off. That's the moment most people give up. But that's also the moment that separates the committed from the convenient. If you can stay faithful in the dark seasons, if you can keep going when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you're overlooked, you're setting yourself up for a breakthrough, because the light always finds those who keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. The truth is, every legend you admire had a dark season. Every athlete, every entrepreneur, every leader. There was a time when no one believed in them, when they were working jobs they hated, training alone, getting rejected, struggling to stay afloat. But they kept grinding. They didn't need permission to be great. They didn't need someone to validate their dreams. They knew that if they stayed consistent, their time would come. And when the light hit, they were ready because they prepared when no one was watching. So ask yourself this: are you willing to grind in the dark? Are you willing to do the work when there's no guarantee of reward? Can you stay focused when the applause stops? Because if you can, then you're already ahead of most people. Most people quit in the quiet. They start strong, but fade when things slow down. But not you. You have to be different. You have to love the process more than the praise. You have to commit to the work even when it's lonely, even when it's boring, even when it feels like nothing's changing. And here's the thing, you're not really alone. The world might not be watching now, but that's okay. The reward is never in the attention. It's in the transformation. You're becoming something in the dark. You're growing roots. You're building a foundation. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't need recognition to keep going. And when the light finally shines on you, when the opportunity comes, when the door opens, you'll be ready to walk through it with strength, with confidence, and with credibility. So stop chasing the spotlight. Stop waiting for someone to notice you. Just get to work, lock in, build your skills, build your discipline, build your mindset, because one day the world will see what you've been building in the dark. And when that day comes, they won't be surprised by your success. They'll be stunned by your consistency. While they were sleeping, you were working. While they were talking, you were executing. While they were hoping, you were preparing. That's what grinding in the dark is all about. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about doing what needs to be done long before anyone gives you credit. Because greatness isn't something you show, it's something you become. And you become it when no one's watching. Most people talk a lot about what they want. They say they want to be successful, wealthy, respected, or great at something. But here's the truth. It's not about what you say you want. It's about what you're willing to sacrifice for it. Are you willing to give up sleep, comfort, fun, or even friendships, if that's what it takes? Are you willing to say no to good things so you can chase the great ones? Because success doesn't come to those who are interested. It comes to those who are committed. And commitment always comes with sacrifice. You can't hold on to your old life and expect to step into a new one. If you want to rise to a new level, you've got to leave something behind. Maybe it's your old habits. Maybe it's the people who don't believe in you. Maybe it's your fear, your laziness, or your excuses. Whatever it is, you need to be willing to let it go, because the top of the mountain won't come down to meet you. You have to climb. And climbing takes effort. It takes pain. It takes giving up the things that used to feel good so you can chase what really matters. Look around you. Every successful person you admire has sacrificed. The athlete sacrificed weekends, rest, and junk food. The entrepreneur sacrifices stability, sleep, and even relationships. The artist sacrificed comfort, security, and easy paths. That's the price. You can't skip it. You can't negotiate it. Can I succeed? The question is, am I willing to pay the price? Because if you're not willing to sacrifice, you're not really serious. You're just talking. Sacrifice doesn't feel good in the moment. It hurts. It's uncomfortable, makes you doubt yourself. But that's the training ground. Every time you sacrifice, you get stronger. You gain focus. You build discipline. You prove to yourself that your future is more important than your present comfort. That's what separates the hungry from the average. The average want ease. The hungry want progress. The average want fun. The hungry want purpose. The average make excuses. The hungry make sacrifices. Sometimes sacrifice means losing sleep, waking up at 4 a.m. to study, to train, to work. It means turning off Netflix and turning on discipline. It means saying no when everyone else says yes. It means being misunderstood. People might think you've changed. They might say you're obsessed, but obsession is what it takes. Obsession is what keeps you going when motivation runs out. And sacrifice is the fuel behind that obsession. It's what proves you're all in. Sacrifice is also lonely. You'll have to walk alone at times. Not everyone will understand your vision. Not everyone will support your grind. Some people will doubt you, criticize you, or even laugh at you. But you can't let that stop you, because this isn't about them. This is about you and the life you're building. Every step you take in the dark, every decision you make to stay focused is bringing you closer to the breakthrough. Even when it doesn't look like it, even when it feels like nothing is changing, every sacrifice you make is stacking up, preparing you for that one moment when everything aligns. And here's the beautiful part. The pain of sacrifice is temporary, but the reward is lasting. You might lose a few nights of sleep now, but you gain years of freedom later. You might miss out on some parties today, but you gain opportunities tomorrow that most people will never touch. You might feel exhausted, but you'll feel proud. Proud that you didn't settle. Proud that you pushed through. Proud that you had the guts to pay the price. Some people will never know that feeling. They'll live their whole lives wondering what could have been if they had tried harder, if they had gone all in, if they had been willing to give something up. But not you. You're not here to play small. You're here to go after everything you were created for. You're here to build something that lasts. And that starts with sacrifice. There's no shortcut. There's no easy button. You can't have it all if you're not willing to let something go. So, what are you willing to give up? What distractions are stealing your time? What habits are holding you back? What voices are keeping you small? Identify them, then make the decision. Because once you decide to sacrifice, truly decide, everything changes. You stop wasting time. You stop making excuses. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You just get to work. And when you start to live like that, people notice. They may not understand it, but they respect it. Because sacrifice is rare. Most people want the reward without the cost, but you're different. You're willing to pay what others won't, so you can live how others can't. You're willing to stay late, to rise early, to grind when it's hard. You're willing to suffer now so you can succeed later. And that mindset, that hunger, that's what makes you unstoppable. So don't be afraid to let go. Don't be afraid to sacrifice. That temporary loss is shaping a permanent gain. You're not falling behind, you're falling into place. Every sacrifice is a seed, and when the time is right, you'll harvest everything you've been working for. Stay hungry, stay focused, and keep sacrificing, because the future you want is on the other side of everything you're willing to give up. When you decide you want something, really want it, you have to be prepared to go through the grind. The process isn't pretty. It's not Instagrammable. It's not about the motivational quotes or the highlight reels. It's the part where you sweat when no one is watching, where you stay up late and wake up early, where you question if it's all even worth it. The process is brutal. It's not exciting. It's lonely. It's repetitive. But if you want the reward, you have to embrace the grind. Most people quit not because they're incapable, but because they can't handle the process. They see the finished product, but they're not willing to go through the messy middle. Everyone wants to lift the trophy, but few want to do the reps. Everyone wants the degree, the business, the physique, the status, but they don't want to suffer. And the grind is all about suffering. It's about putting in the work day after day when there's no applause, no recognition, and no guarantee. It's about trusting the vision. Even when the results haven't shown up yet, you got to be willing to go through what others run from. The process isn't meant to be easy. It's meant to refine you, to expose your weaknesses and force you to grow. When you go through the grind, you learn about who you really are. You find out how bad you want it. Because there will be days when everything in you wants to stop. Your body aches, your mind screams, and the doubts get louder. That's when the real you shows up. Not the you when it's easy, but the you when it's hard. People admire greatness, but forget the grind behind it. That athlete didn't get there by chance. They showed up to practice when it rained, when it was cold, when no one else did. That entrepreneur didn't just stumble into success. They went broke, got rejected, failed 100 times before something worked. That speaker, that leader, that creator, they spent hours, months, years perfecting their craft while the world ignored them. What separates them is not talent, it's endurance. It's the relentless commitment to the process. And then here's what the grind teaches you. Consistency beats intensity. It's not about going hard one day and crashing the next. It's about showing up every day, even when it's boring, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. It's choosing to do the work when comfort says rest, when doubt says quit, and when fear says run. If you can stay consistent in the process, the breakthrough will come. But most people give up just before it does. They can't see the result, so they assume nothing's happening. But something is always happening. Growth is invisible until it's undeniable. The grind isn't glamorous. It's waking up at 5 a.m. when the world is still asleep. It's doing the extra reps, reading the extra pages, making the extra calls. It's failing and showing up again. It's working a job to pay the bills while building your dream at night. It's battling the voice in your head that says you'll never make it. But the grind is where confidence is built. When you know you've put in the work, you walk differently, you speak differently. You don't need approval because you've proven it to yourself. And let's be honest, some days you won't feel motivated. That's okay. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a choice. Hunger isn't about being pumped up all the time. It's about being grounded in your purpose. Why are you doing this? Who are you doing it for? What's at stake if you don't follow through? When you remember your why, the grind becomes meaningful. You stop resenting it and start respecting it, because the process is what qualifies you for the next level. Think about a seed underground. It's buried in darkness. No one sees it growing, but it's pushing roots, building strength, preparing to break through. That's you in the grind. You may feel buried, but you're actually being planted. You may feel alone, but you're being developed. Every early morning, every late night, every small step is preparing you for that moment when you rise. And when you do, people will say, you're lucky. But you'll know it wasn't luck. It was the grind. The process will test everything in you. It will test your patience, your resilience, your character. It will ask you, do you really want this? And you have to answer with your actions. You can't fake your way through the grind. It exposes everything. That's why it's so powerful. It humbles you. It sharpens you. It builds something inside of you that comfort never could. So embrace the grind. Fall in love with the work. Celebrate the process, not just the product. Show up when it's hard. Push through when it's heavy. Trust the path even when you can't see the end. Because the grind is your greatest ally. It's the fire that forges your greatness. It's not punishment, it's preparation. The truth is, there's no secret to success. There's no shortcut, there's just a grind. The quiet, unglamorous daily decision to do the work, to show up, to keep going. And if you can do that, if you can lean into the process instead of running from it, there's nothing you can't accomplish. Stay hungry, stay committed, and most of all, respect the grind, because that's where greatness is born. You must protect your hunger. Once you ignite that fire inside of you, once you've decided that you want something more than average, you can't afford to let that flame die. Too many people start strong. They begin with passion, with ambition, with energy, but along the way, distractions creep in. Comfort sneaks up on them, and little by little, they forget why they started. The hunger fades. But if you truly want to reach your full potential, you have to guard your hunger like it's sacred, because hunger is not something that lives outside of you. It's not something you can borrow from someone else. It's not something you can download from a podcast or a video. Real hunger is internal, it's personal, it's born from your struggle, your vision, your dreams, your experiences. That's why you can't expect others to understand it. People will question you. They'll tell you to relax. They'll say you've done enough, but hunger doesn't listen to that. Hunger says there's more in you. Hunger doesn't care how far you've come. It keeps pushing you toward how far you can go. Once you tap into that level of drive, you have to protect it at all costs. You have to be selective about what you consume, what you watch, what you listen to, who you spend time with. Because not everything feeds your hunger. Some things starve it. Some people will drain your energy, not out of malice, but because they're comfortable being average and they want you to join them. But you didn't come this far to settle. You didn't endure the pain, the sacrifice, the grind, just to be ordinary. Your hunger got you here. And it's your responsibility to keep it alive. You protect your hunger by staying connected to your purpose. You remind yourself daily why you started. You don't let yourself get too satisfied, because satisfaction breeds stagnation. Asa? Hunger doesn't mean you're never proud of your progress. It means you're never complacent. It means you celebrate, but you don't settle. You acknowledge your wins, but you don't stop. There's always another level. There's always a deeper version of your greatness waiting to be uncovered. The truth is, it's easy to lose hunger in a world that promotes comfort. Everywhere you look, there's a shortcut being sold. There's a temptation to take the easy path, to settle for good enough. But good enough is the enemy of greatness. The moment you start thinking you've arrived is the moment you start declining. Hunger is what keeps you humble. It reminds you that no matter how far you've come, there's still work to do. There's still people to impact. There's still a legacy to build. Protecting your hunger also means managing your environment. Your surroundings play a big role in whether your hunger grows or fades. If you're constantly around people who make excuses, eventually you'll start making excuses too. If you're always hearing negativity, eventually it will seep into your mindset. That's why you got to be intentional about who you let into your space. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, who hold you accountable, who push you to be better. Not just cheerleaders, but truth tellers. People who won't let you forget what you said you were going to do. And let's not ignore the distractions that come from success. Ironically, success can be more dangerous than failure. When you fail, your hunger increases. You want to prove yourself. But when you succeed, you start to relax. You start believing the hype. That's why some people shine for a moment and disappear. They forgot what it was like to be hungry. They got comfortable, and comfort killed their drive. But the real ones, the legends, they stay hungry no matter how much they win. They treat every day like day one. They don't let success seduce them into softness. Another way to protect your hunger is through routine. Hunger thrives on discipline. You can't always rely on motivation. Some days you won't feel like it. That's okay. Your routine carries you when your emotions don't. It keeps you grounded. It keeps your standards high even when your energy is low. Winners don't let feelings dictate their actions. They let principles guide them. And that consistency is what keeps the hunger burning. Protecting your hunger also means embracing discomfort. Growth and comfort can't coexist. You have to be willing to do the hard things, to stretch yourself, to take risks, to face rejection. Hunger doesn't avoid fear, it uses it. Hunger says, this is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. If you only do what's easy, your hunger will wither. But if you do what's hard, what's necessary, your hunger will grow stronger. You'll start craving challenge. You'll stop running from the grind and start running to it. Finally, you protect your hunger by remembering that this journey isn't just about you, it's bigger than you. Your hunger has the power to inspire others, to uplift your family, your community, your future generation. When you stay hungry, you become a beacon. You become living proof that it's possible to rise, to overcome, to build something meaningful. So when you feel like giving up, remember the people who are watching you. When you look back on your life, you won't remember every detail of the journey, but you'll remember how you showed up. You'll remember whether you gave everything you had or whether you played it safe. You'll remember whether you stayed hungry when it was hard. or whether you let fear and comfort take the wheel. You remember those moments when everything in you wanted to quit, and whether you pushed through anyway. Hunger is not just a motivational slogan. It's a way of life. It's a commitment to growth, to excellence, to legacy. Hunger isn't about chasing success for applause or trophies. It's about honoring the gift you were given. It's about refusing to waste your potential. It's about knowing that someone out there is counting on your greatness. Someone who will only believe it's possible because they saw you do it first. Hunger doesn't sleep, doesn't make excuses. It doesn't care how tired you are or how many obstacles you face. Hunger is what wakes you up early and keeps you up late. Hunger is what makes you invest in yourself when no one else will. It's what makes you take risks when others play it safe. It's what makes you keep going when the world tells you to stop. But your hunger says otherwise hit, and they will. It's your hunger that keeps you grounded. It's your hunger that reminds you of your purpose, your why, your reason for being. Because let's be real, life will test you. Life will try to break you. It will put you in situations where you feel like you're drowning, like you're stuck, like you're not enough. But your hunger says otherwise. Your hunger says you were built for this. Your hunger says this is the fire that forges your strength. Your hunger says you're not done yet. So don't let temporary pain make you forget your permanent mission. Don't let temporary failure erase your lifelong dream. You've come too far, you've sacrificed too much, and there's too much riding on your success. Protect your hunger from the noise. Protect it from doubt. Protect it from comfort. Protect it from mediocrity. Because if you lose your hunger, you lose your edge. And if you lose your edge, you stop climbing. And when you stop climbing, you stop becoming who you were meant to be. You were not born to be average. You were not created to be like everyone else. You have a story that only you can write. You have a light that only you can shine. And every time you show up, every time you give 120%, even when no one is watching, you honor that calling. You step into the rare air where champions live, not because it's easy, but because you chose it, because you stayed hungry. And when it's all said and done and the lights go out and the applause fades and the world stops watching, you'll be able to say, I didn't quit. I didn't settle. I didn't waste my shot. I stayed hungry. And that more than anything is what will separate you from the rest. Not talent, not luck, not background, hunger. The fire that refused to go out. The voice inside that kept whispering, there's more in you, so go chase that more. Go fight for it, go become it. Because this world doesn't need more people who are just surviving. It needs people who are hungry to live, hungry to lead, hungry to build, hungry to make an impact. So keep going. Keep grinding, keep climbing, stay focused, stay relentless, stay driven, and above all, stay hungry.